How's it going, everyone? It's Frankie Martinez. I'm out here on my way to the Cal Berkeley Hammer Clinic. So if you guys don't know about this Hammer Clinic, there's a lot of the top hammer throwers in the country / the world right now. They're getting beat at this clinic. So obviously you have Mohamed Saatara, who is the Cal Berkeley coach, who's coached a number of amazing hammer throwers, including Camryn Rogers, who's also going to be there, who is the NCAA record holder in the women's hammer, NCAA champion. She's amazing. We also have Rudy Winkler, who just broke the hammer American record, and also Alex Young, who is an Olympian as of this last summer games. Yeah. So I'm going to keep you guys updated, or try to keep you guys updated, because I guarantee this clinic is going to be busy. Going to be a bunch of knowledge bombs and knowledge nuggets. I'm hoping I'm able to capture everything. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. So as soon as I got to this clinic, I knew it was going to be insane. A bunch of NCAA Division I qualifiers, a lot of great talent around. Just in this next picture above, you'll see Andy Bloom, Rudy Winkler, Kevin McManoff, Alex Young, as well as Ed Burke, all Olympians, and as well as the star cast of Cal Berkeley, which of course is Camryn Rogers. And she was an amazing person to just talk to and just pick her brain. But let's get into how the clinic went down. So at this portion, this is the station where Camryn Rogers was at. She talked a lot about the wines and what she kind of thinks about in her own wines. A couple of things that I took from Camryn that at least I picked up from her were keeping your wines longer, not cutting the wines. She likes to preload her left side, or establish that left side axis early. So she preloads it, and she likes to be more automated in her throws. I learned a lot about, with her at least, how she controls her anxiety in competition. As she's gone to a various amount of competitions all the way up to the Olympics. This is last Olympics. So I have a video up on my YouTube if you guys want to check that out on Camryn and what she thinks about. Check it out. It's the last video I posted. But yeah, Camryn was amazing. She talked a lot about her wines and her entry, and how it transferred over into her overall throw. So we did do things in stations. So the next station I did end up visiting was Alex Young. So Alex Young actually just kind of went off of what Camryn left off at.
Okay, so now what I'm going to say next, you got to see the ball back. And what that means is as you come up for your wind, right? So our hands are here. Your hands got to be active from here on out. And what I mean by that, I'm going to say something along the lines of catch the hands, right? So that means push them out, right? Nice, long, and loose. Push them out. And what that does is it's going to establish what we call the low point. And I'm sure this is your first time throwing. But the low point is exactly, obviously, what it's called, the lowest point of the orbit, right? So there's a low point, and there's a high point, the opposite of that. So you want to put that low point right on the inside of that right foot, almost right toe. And I'll explain why that's super important here in a minute.
So at this point, Alex Young and Camryn Rogers' stuff did coincide with one another. They actually both have similar coaching upbringing. So Alex Young's coach is Amin Nikfar, who is a former Stanford coach as well as Bay Area athlete. So he actually came from San Jose, California. So Mo and Amin both connected, and now both have similar coaching styles or similar things that they focus on. Camryn does more of a dynamic entry with 3 wands and a step in. Alex Young has no step in and actually limits his wands to, I believe, 2 wands only. So it was pretty interesting to see how everything just kind of went together and flowed together. Amin and Coach Mo both, again, have very similar styles because they came from the similar school of thought, and that's why a lot of their stuff kind of coincides with each other. Now, a lot of what Alex was talking about during his portion of the clinic was just how he warms up and generally gets the right side and the left side going. He did overemphasize the left side axis, which for him and Camryn Rogers is the first thing you really want to establish. Now, the next clinician I actually went to go see is Rudy Winkler, and he did have a little bit of a different mentality when it comes to training and technique. His winds, his turns are a bit different from what Camryn and Alex talk about, just because they do come from a different mentality as far as coaching or what possibly moves the ball. Now, Rudy did mention he likes a flat wind into the turns, in contrast to Camryn as well as Alex Young, who likes more of a U-shaped entry versus a flat-shaped entry. This all made sense as it does correlate together as far as what Rudy was teaching. He was teaching flatter hips on entry. He was teaching that the motor, or how you move the ball, primarily comes from the right foot going into the left heel, obviously a right-handed thrower, and that's how he primarily thinks about moving the ball. Now, Rudy's entry does make sense correlating to the turns. So the turns, when you step over and catch roughly around 270 to 180, he talks about having a flat hip versus a high hip, so that allows him to get into his next turn, right foot being the thing that helps him turn into the left and just continue on to his turns. So the one thing that Ed Burke, the guy in the left-hand corner in the white sweater, did mention that at about 0 degrees, Rudy thinks about having a soft heel, meaning that you're not toes up, that your heel is digging into the ground, but the toe is not up. So the mentality behind toe up, which was something that he mentioned that Stuart Toger was teaching, was the fact that you were able to counter back onto the ball easier. But again, Rudy Winkler does mention he likes to think about a hard right foot into the left heel, and that's what ultimately moves the overall throw. Now, following this portion, we did have a brief break and came back to the Q&A section, which I actually did not record, but I do have some of the throws that happened after the Q&A, as well as the warm-up drills that we came back to. Now, again, some of the more important things that came out in the Q&A was the fact that anxiety actually plagued all of the better athletes, Alex Young, Camryn Rogers, and Rudy Winkler, but they all had similar answers where they said that they used the anxiety and nervousness that they had and they applied it into the actual technique that they were trying to accomplish. So again, after all of our Q&A section, we got back into what we were trying to learn and tried to apply into the throws. I myself had a couple of things that I tried out while I was in the ring. As you can see, I'm adjusting myself in the ring, and that's just Coach Mo giving me a cue on how to counter, since I'm actually doing or trying to get more of a head or shoulder counter, and he was actually suggesting that I get more of a counter with my bottom or my legs so that I'm able to shift my center of mass easier. Next person up is Ashton Headley, who was actually one of my athletes at Hartnell College. I brought him along to just try and experiment with new concepts and have some feedback to the other coaches. Here he had tried to throw the ball in left as well as keep balance through the entire throw. Now this throw he actually performed, I believe he actually PR'd, a practice PR at least, and that just goes to show that what we were learning, what we were trying to accomplish was just kind of reset in a certain way, and then obviously added a couple different things to his throw to hopefully it all clicked. And he did have a couple of throws for him at this time over 50 meters, which is a big deal. So one of the last things I want to share with you guys is Rudy Winkler's about 90-meter 6K throw. Let's watch. So that last throw was one of the most amazing throws I've ever seen in person. Super graceful, amazingly fast, aggressive, a little bit of every element that we would want as hammer throwers. But wrapping up the video, this was a great overall experience, which I hope to come back to a similar clinic just like this, maybe covering a different throwing event, but hammer is definitely my specialty. So I definitely enjoyed watching all these guys, as well as all the awesome feedback through all the coaches. Now, be on the lookout for future videos. I actually have raw footage of the actual clinic itself if you guys are interested in that. So this was Frankie Martinez. Make sure you guys are checking out the future videos. Like, share, and comment. Make sure you guys are letting me know what you guys want to see in the future. I thought I'd try this vlog style for the first time, So if you guys are digging this, make sure you guys are checking me out here on YouTube at Frankie Martinez Throws, my personal page at Coach Frankie Martinez, and my private coaching page at Heart of a Warrior Strength. See you guys next time. This is Frankie Martinez.